evening and welcome. It is Monday Night Football, Lago Soweto TV, Kamalamu Kamzambata, and oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Boy being the operative word. Bafana failing to make it to the next AFCON as far as qualification is concerned. We're going to look into that, the failure to qualify, their road on this AFCON journey. And of course, there is the tiny matter of FIFA World Cup qualification that's going to start soon. So we'll talk about that too. And of course, just look in to what now? The future. Vision 2022 was mooted by the powers that be. We're a year away from 2022, and these are the current results. So much to reflect on, and joining me tonight, I have my panel made up of two not-so-big winners and one big winner in Greg Atafia. Look at him do the hand thing. There we go, a goosey soup, fueling the celebration. And Velile Mnyandu and Timothy Batabayer of South Africa and Uganda. What now, gentlemen? What now?
Can I propose that we...
No, you can take two, only two. You won, only one.
Why did he only get one?
8 points. He got 10 points, so it's ahead of him.
There we go. Yikes. Congratulations. I mean, for you, Greg, this is immaterial. It's about winning the thing for you guys, not qualifying.
Yeah, no, I mean, Nigeria, they missed some of the AFCON. You remember they missed twice. I mean, but after then, they're doing very well now, and in terms of the players Nigeria have now. And in this group, you expect them to qualify with 2 games in hand. But I mean, they took it to the second to last game against Benin Republic, and it was a big rivalry. In terms of Benin have 7 points.
Yeah.
They needed to beat the Super Eagles, but credit must go to the technical team, to the players, and everyone for them to do us proud.
No, for sure.
And I'm just so happy, But we already booked the training pitch in Cameroon, the hotel have been booked there, everything have been booked there. So these guys, they need to think about World Cup. But if you can qualify in 24. We need to expand it to 48 now so that these guys can qualify.
Everyone can have a chance. Velile, is that the way to do it? Top teams qualify with a game in hand?
I think. Firstly, I must take this opportunity to congratulate the Super Eagles. I think for me, in the last 5 years, they have shown to be a model African Football Association that should be followed.
Right.
There are other guys who are doing very well, especially in North Africa. We see with Algeria how Jamel Belmadi has turned things around for the reigning African champions. I think it's for the first time in more than how many years that Nigeria in Genedro, they've got a coach who's been there for 5 years in a row. And he's producing. And also, if you look at it, he has transformed the team. The team is young. You look at Victor Osimhen, you look at Chukwueze, you look at all the young boys who are coming through that team. And these are boys just 6 years ago who were playing in the Under-17 World Cup with our boys. Right. And our boys, some are even left in Devon to be part of the Olympic camp. You understand what I mean?
For sure.
And this team, they qualify with a game to spare.
Yes.
There's just positivity around this Nigerian team for me. They are coming back from the World Cup. Yes, they missed 2 AFCONs, 2 consecutive AFCONs. 2015, I think 2017 you also missed it as well
but they self-corrected
in Gabon.
after that.
They self-corrected after that. You can see their leadership vision. As much as Nigeria, you cannot say the same about their national league, which is very poor. Right. But when it comes to the national teams, you can see the vision. And I cannot say the same about us.
Timothy, I think Velile brings up a good point, that we can look at our league and look at all the money and the commercial success, and he makes reference to a league that is also not doing well, doesn't have the many, you have overseas based players, but you couldn't get them in due to COVID. Even with those limitations, a team like Nigeria were able to make things happen. What of the rest of the countries and teams that have resources, that have the means, and then they don't qualify?
I will first and foremost say congratulations to Etafia.
Thank you once more.
At least he will have the comfort to take a flight to Cameroon as we try to organize the TV sets to try and boost the Soweto TV in watching the AFCON. When it comes to the administrative structures in various FAs, and we're looking at Nigeria. Nigeria has always been a model when it comes to football in the African continent. Their priority is more about the national team. Yes, the league is one thing, but also there's that aspect where they have made sure that almost all footballers find their way outside Nigeria. That explains why they're having less interest in the league. Why? Because they know that once that talent is exported to whatever part of the world, it's going to get better. When they call upon it, it's going to deliver. There is that pride to turn out for the national team. These players are willing to canoe to Benin. You know, they go in a canoe and still arrive and still perform.
Yes.
Right.
They train at night when the floodlights have been switched off.
We're talking one of the most expensive players for Napoli getting onto a canoe and going to deliver for the national team. So it comes to the mentor, the attitude of the players.
Right.
They want to be there. Vis-a-vis appearing. So for me, if all FAs can try to get their players to have that sense of belonging to be there, I think that would be a long way.
I like the point Tim has just made, because among some of the excuses I've been getting is also about how we had to travel at night, going to the Gold Coast. When we went to play
being
at
unsettled
Ghana,
and all those things.
you know, and also how Sudan played a day ahead of us, and we had to travel to Sudan when they had rested, and I was thinking to myself, exactly, you know, when I saw those Nigerian boys on the boats for 1.5 hours in the water, you don't know what might happen there. You know, and they train at night, floodlights off.
Right.
You understand? The following day, in terms of the mental strength, those players get onto the field,
And do the job.
needing only a draw. They beat Benin in Benin for the first time in 8 years.
In 8 years, yeah.
That Benin has lost a game at home.
Right.
You understand?
Yes.
Now, this for me, it says something, some real lessons.
For sure.
Yes, I would love to see a Nigerian Football Federation that is also good with the domestic league.
For sure. For it to
Because that's
also
where the
get strong.
economy of football is.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know? But also, we cannot ignore how they have improved their planning. Because they didn't used to be good with their planning, but they have improved their planning in recent years.
I've not had anything to do with their allowances. That was always the main issues with the Super Eagles. If you're not striking for non-payment, you know, that is something of the past. So for me, we are looking at that mental strength. You know, when there is failure, everybody, you know, when you're successful, everybody can claim to explain your success story. But only you understand your failures and struggles. So at this time now is for us, Uganda, Bafana, to go back and try to explain why we are failing to perform at that level.
But you see, and the other good thing, you know, with the Nigerian national team in this era, you know, in terms of Ghanaro and having Joseph Yobo as his assistant, most of the younger players, you know, they look up to Yobo, you know, in terms of what he have achieved, the highest cap player in the Super Eagles, and he being assistant to Ghanaro, he says a lot. And for Nigeria to replace player to player, you can see the difference. Because imagine the players that they didn't come for this game, the French players, you know, and because they said because of the COVID something and all those things. Even Owobi was tested positive.
Right.
That's why he wasn't the team on that day. And one quality. So if you check the squad, you know, you have a lot of young players, but playing in a top league with the top teams. You have Villarreal, you have Everton, you have Napoli, you know, you have Genk. So they are young, but they are playing week in, week out. So, and that's, I think, for me, that's one point South Africa need to go back to. You know, you get the players overseas, but let them play. They can start from the development, you know, but they're gonna get there. But get them there, because it's not, you know, reflects to your national team. Because with this situation now, most of the countries that have a strong domestic league, talking about North Africa, that's basic for them. You can see most of them qualify for this AFCON in Cameroon.
Okay. I just want to then start unbundling then, because obviously the big talk and the obvious talk is to say, fire the coach. which is, been synonymous with a lot of voices on social media. We make this point all the time. Coach Ntseki did not appoint himself. And if you get rid of him, what about the appointers? If you get rid of the appointee, what happens to the appointers?
I think, okay, you can start.
No, sorry. For me, okay, official games, 9 games, won 4, lose 3, draw 2. It's not a bad record. But the important one for all of this game, he needed to go to the AFCON. As a young coach, and for his career to grow, and for him to know that he has arrived, qualified nations to the AFCON, which is 24. Right. I mean, it's expanded AFCON. South Africa, with all the resources and everything, and the quality of the player, we say, both foreign base and local base, I think we should be raising our hands up and say South Africa is in the AFCON. But with saying that, okay, he didn't appoint himself, but they gave him the support. He was the next person to turn to, because they tried a lot of other big coaches, never work. But at the same time, for him, I just think, it's not acceptable for South Africa not to be in AFCON.
Do you go along with that, the support part?
I think where I agree with him is when Greg is saying it's not acceptable for South Africa not to be at the AFCON.
Sure.
Comoros is there for the first time. Gambia is there for the first time. You have Malawi,
who just
since
qualified
2010.
Yeah.
They are there. You have Sudan since 2012. They are there. Taking nothing away from these countries.
Right.
And we look at where South Africa is. I was saying earlier today, Sundowns is playing Al Hilal this week. In Omdurman. Same stadium.
Sure.
Yeah.
You will see the result.
It's going to be completely different.
I think when you talk about Sundowns, it's a United Nations something. So
No,
let's
no,
leave
no,
Sundowns
no,
a little bit
no,
aside.
no, no, no.
Let's leave.
No. We can
But
even
let's
we
do a postmortem.
No. We can even go to the Sundowns team that's going to play.
Yeah.
Right.
And we take out the
Onyango.
United Nations they're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
But still, the profile of the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
It's still, you understand?
I hear you. Yeah.
So, but that was don't pick on the Sundowns thing. That was
No. For me,
wait.
Really.
So I'm still on the floor. Yeah. So for me, this one is very painful. It cuts deep. It cuts deep because personally, being at the 24-team AFCON, I don't have that experience being at the AFCON. The first one I was in there, it was in Cairo, and my team was there.
Yeah.
Now I'm imagining myself getting there, and
You have to
the
introduce
next thing I have to
No
cover
country.
teams from my region.
No, I feel your pain.
But it's not the same.
And you have to
man
introduce
with no
yourself.
country almost.
Yes.
You have to introduce yourself where you're coming from.
I want to introduce myself to Kama Biliati and Gerald Piri when they are there. You understand?
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is that this one is very disappointing. And what is also disappointing is that you talk about the appointers. In the past 7 years, I want to count for you. When Sheikh Mashaba had to come in to replace Godni Khasant in 2014, he was not the first choice. No, he was the original choice.
Right.
There were other candidates. Brashaiks left. Baxter came 2018. He was never even in the top 5. In fact, in the short list. It later transpired that no, it was the SAFA president who came with his card. And right now, when Baxter left, no one had even thought about Coach Ntseki. Yes, he was the assistant. And at that time, there was talk that there could be another foreign coach coming. So I'm saying to you, let's not just look now.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this on the back of what Nigeria has done. I'm telling you about our last 7 years, and I'm telling you about what Nigeria has done in the last 5 years.
Right.
Yes, at some stage, I think Jonathan failed to qualify for AFCON.
Yeah.
But they kept him. You understand? And guess what? He qualified them for the World Cup. didn't go to the AFCON qualify for the World Cup. So you look at all these things that have been happening, they catch up. They catch up with you.
For sure.
Having said that, our problems are not just only in that space. Also on how we manage the talent as well. The quality. Because, you know, sometimes I was looking at people that were saying, this Sudanese team, okay, they were saying about us, no, we've got very few players playing in Europe and what and what. Okay, granted. That's another area that we should talk about.
Yes.
But that Sudanese team that we played yesterday, only 2 players are playing outside Sudan.
For sure.
Majority of them are playing for Al Merrikh and Al Hilal.
Yeah.
But you could see yesterday, it was about the heart.
Sure.
Do we have that?
Sure. So, with all that said, Tim, where does that put South Africans as far as the mentality? Because if players who can say, look amongst themselves and say, we may not be the biggest world beaters, but we're going to do a job amongst the more kind of, you know, coddled Bafana bunch.
I think the mentality, the attitude is one thing, and that you can see it even from the club levels. You understand, if you watch the derby, that's Pirates, Sundowns, Chiefs. That's one of the best games on the calendar.
Right.
And when you look at that applicability of the players on the field of play, you still feel that missing attitude. They want it, they die a little for that badge. And that has to move on to the national team. So South Africa has got almost everything a player will need to perform.
But
Everything
but
the attitude is not there.
Attitude,
The positive attitude, because you need to want to be there.
Yeah.
You need to be there.
Yeah.
And sometimes you hear people talking about we don't have our identity, you're not playing well. Sometimes you need to play for the result.
Yeah.
A good defender is a stupid one who clears the ball. They will clap for him. They will say, well done. That's what. So there is no need to try and be clean. Try to play short when you're a defender.
And the other point again, you know, just as, you know, to add what a team is saying, you know, sometimes as a player, you know, you travel outside country. You don't expect things to be rosy to you. You know, don't expect things to be nice. You know, maybe you go to Norway, it's cold. You go to Russia, it's very cold. People are swearing at you. You know, things happen to you. You're just 17 years old or 18 years old. All of a sudden, that player say, no, I'm missing South Africa. I want to come back. There's a lot of example I can give. A lot of South African players that plays overseas, they want to come back. I go up to the point with, let me go back to Ojon, top class in England.
Yeah.
To playing for the top club, you can imagine. All of a sudden, you know, he came back home. Other African countries, mostly in West Africa, there's that determination, that's heart. You know, you're 17 years, you're 18 years, you just want to be there. Because when you look back home, you really want to
Transform home.
Yeah, you know, make them proud. So you forget about what you have achieved before or what you have home. You want to get more. That's why you see all these players, Chukwueze, they go to Villarreal. There's a lot of top players in Villarreal. You go to Obi, doesn't play often, but it's in the midst there. You know, you go to Napoli. You know, you have a lot of examples like that.
Right.
So I don't see that with South African players going outside their comfort zone and stay there.
You know, what pains me when he mentions Chikweze, and I'll go back to these 2 boys, Chikweze and Osimhen, because even at the last AFCON, when Nigeria, by the way, were bronze medalists, and they knocked us out in the quarterfinals. And you expect that when you're in the top 8, you surely in the top 8, how can you struggle to go back to be the top 24 again? You understand?
Yeah.
But these boys that he's talking about, Chikweze, Osimhen, our boys under 17, coached by Ntseki, 2015, beat them in the semi-final, AFCON, and we went to play in the final against Mali.
Yeah.
And they went on to be champions of the under 17, and we went to the under 17 World Cup. But those boys, they were coming from the academies in in Nigeria. They were not overseas.
Yeah.
They were coming from the academies.
Right.
There was this other one who was the captain, Nokali.
Kalu.
There's a Nokali boy who was the captain. They went straight from Chile. They went to different clubs, Wolfsburg,
Yeah.
all these teams. I remember with Osimhen, he struggled to get some teams, but eventually he went to FC Lille.
Yeah.
And
Did well there.
did well.
Top scorer there.
And now he's a record. I think the record
For
transfer.
Napoli, yeah.
Yes, for an African player. You understand? I can count for you. Riv Frosler was in that team. This boy who got permanently injured was the Chiefs. Wiseman Meyiwa was in that team. Montli Mpoto was in that team. I can count a number of players. The number of players who were in that team. Our boys, majority of them, they're not at Bafana.
Sure.
You understand?
Sure.
And he keeps on mentioning these boys. And
That's a common thread.
yes. And this boy, Osimhen scored this even.
Exactly. Osimhen is off to the AFCON.
You know,
Okay.
you
No,
know.
I hear you.
So we've got serious challenges, and part of this, I remember when I was also in the Under-20 World Cup, our boys were getting offers. Some of our boys, but with Nigeria boys, they don't even think twice. Even with Zambia, they don't even think twice. They go overseas.
Right.
But our clubs, they want telephone numbers.
Right.
In terms of the amount of money that they need.
So
For under
now it
17 and
rules out
under
the
20 boys.
Right.
Then those boys, they've lost the opportunity to go overseas.
We're going to carry on. We've got plenty time to unpack, and we've got literally one big topic that we're doing this evening, and it's all related to Bafana. So this conversation will continue. We'll touch on the promises that were kind of made with Vision 2022, but have since seemingly been reneged upon. Monday Night Football continues after this. Welcome back. It's MNF on Soweto TV as we now carry on discussing the big elephant in the room, and that's of course Bafana's failure to qualify for the next AFCON. If you missed the first segment, we're trying to unpack some of the reasons behind this, but it's kind of the same old themes and issues that keep on popping up, Velile. We're sitting in a situation here where Ntseki, obviously, we wonder in terms of streetwiseness, in terms of approach. Did he tick those boxes, in terms of getting the personnel right? Let's start with what he got right. Maybe let's assess. What did Ntseki get right? Let's look at the silver lining, and then we can maybe focus on moving forward.
Look, I think when Coach Ntseki was appointed, and there's this talk of Vision 2022, and as much as the people at the time when he was appointed, they were not convinced. Most people were not convinced. In fact, some are still even not convinced now. I think it's even worse now.
For sure,
not
they feel
qualifying.
vindicated.
But the few that at least were like, okay, let's see what he can do. It was because he had been part of Brashak's technical team. He was also with Stuart Baxter when he, and
Which usually makes sense in most clubs.
Yeah,
or
it made sense at
situations.
the time.
Yeah.
Even though also we knew that because Safa is broke,
Yeah,
at that
there's
time.
that, yeah.
So they can't afford
It was a
the
compromise.
original choices that they had.
Right.
Which is a bit disappointing. But so the thinking was that he's also been working with most of these boys because he was working with under 17s, under 20, under 23. So some of these boys are going to be fast-tracked. And I think the disappointment for me is to see some of the boys only coming in very late.
Right.
And not being fast-tracked properly.
Sure.
So I think that was the disappointment for me. I think, yes, one of the challenges that I had, because you have to project in terms of your points.
Yeah.
And yes, we finish on 10 points. In other groups, 10 points gets you through.
Sure. Sure.
But here, you win all your home matches. Right? Once you win all your home matches, that's 9 points. And then you steal points away. In this case, that's what Sudan did.
Sure.
Sudan, maybe Tim will explain to us because he's played in that part of the land. They talk about the humidity, they talk about, even the bumpy pitch there.
Yeah,
but that's the advantage. That's at home.
Yeah.
That's how they get
They made it count.
their 9 points.
Yeah.
If you look at a Ghanaian team that's got 5 debutants and a Ghanaian team that hardly fields locally based players. They rarely field locally based players. We can go back to all the games that they've played.
Yeah.
Ghana rarely fields locally based players.
Yeah.
In fact, if there's one African based player, it's Ofori.
Right.
Yeah.
That's permanently there.
Yes.
But this time, the circumstances forced them.
Right.
And still, we couldn't take advantage of that. You understand?
Right.
Some of the people who have been arguing about this, they say, but we missed chances. I say, you know, you can miss chances, but there must be a way.
Sure.
And Tim was also saying something here earlier about how we play sometimes. And in the country, I know I'm a bit unpopular on this, but you know, one of the friends who's also working in this space also says this: international football. I was looking yesterday how many touches it was taking us sometimes to even get into the danger zone of Sudan. Too many touches.
Right.
Too many touches.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes, you know, I was looking at, I remember the Sundowns of Pitso Mosimane that won the CAF Champions League.
Yeah.
You must go back and watch that team. It was 3-4 touches.
Right.
They're in the danger zone.
Sure.
3-4
So is this the
touches.
coach just not being tactically astute enough,
Look,
or
if you look at all the coaches who have won titles, just look at their last quarter when the touches. You know, you'll find that there are few players who are given permission to have extra touches. But in most cases, it has to be 1-2. You have to get the ball quicker.
Purpose, yeah.
As a defender, I would love a striker to have more touches on the ball. Why? It gives me an opportunity to recover, get my recovery well, my timing to win the ball. I can delay you. The more you have extra touches in the scorer, it's advantageous to me as a defender. I love that. If there are few touches as a defender, I'm off balance. Remember, I'm getting out of position to try and cover my teammate. So if that ball is moved quicker, we don't coordinate. The more you have extra touches on the ball, you're giving us time to make our defense compact and intact. And when we get the ball, what happens? It's the goal you conceded. It's a counter-attack.
And I'm saying this knowing that there are moments where even the North African teams, even here, you will talk about a team that will play 22 touches and that results in goal. But you don't do that all the time.
Yeah.
You understand? But when... And most of the time that happens when the team is already leading.
Yeah,
sure,
you're winning,
in a good
yeah.
position,
You understand?
when the confidence is high.
Because
Yes,
that
yes.
is teasing the opponent. You are
Yes.
frustrating the opponent. You are getting them angry,
Yes.
frustrated. The worst thing, most top teams, they cannot mark. They love to have the ball. And they try to train and practice how to keep and maintain that ball. Because getting that ball requires energy. If the moment they play the ball and they win it, they are tired, they hand it over to the opponent. That's it. So most teams, most coaches will say, get the balls. Where do you get those balls? In those areas, those channels and everything like that. Punish the opponent. There is a reason why teams keep position in the left side, on the right side, on the middle. There has to be a reason. That purpose is communicating to the teammate. Every pass has communication to the opponent. You have to know that. When they are playing at the back, you will find that there is a left full back making a run. Once it goes to the right back, it's going to be a tip. If you remember the Manchester United of Ferguson, people will say, no, David Beckham is passing a wonderful pass. No, he doesn't need to look because he knows Giggs will be that side. So he concentrates on getting this ball from the right side to that side. There will always be somebody on the ball.
And going to that game in Sudan, you know, there's a lot of things South Africa does well. In terms of the possession, they were having more possession. That one you expect them.
But in which areas are you having possession?
But we're not hitting the opponent.
They have a lot of ball possession there.
But where?
They do try. You see, my only
Etafi, we're not talking about try.
My only argument for them to concede very early in Sudan. That was the disappointing part. Sure. And if you see the free kick, you know, it was in swinger, and I was so, you know, sometimes, you know, you have a player like Tyson, and he's coming from the education of set piece in terms of where he's coming from Gavin Hunt. Yeah. I was thinking he could have done better in terms of organizing because in swinger. They could have kept a high line because there was wind in on the day. And the starting point of Williams I think the starting point was too deep. Because it's going to be in swinger, it's a right-footed player.
Yeah.
It was one player on the ball. So you know what he's going to do.
Right.
And it's a right-footed player. He's going to whip it in the box. So he was in the six, It was in the six. And the defenders, the worst part, and I don't know what happened, maybe concentration, you can say early minutes, because they were defending shoulder to shoulder. I think they could have, for me, with Gavin Hunt, you face, he's a defender, we tell you, don't let the guy run in front of you. Because when you're defending him like this, he doesn't have opportunity to steal the ball. What the guy did, it was a good ball, the delivery was good.
Yeah.
He whipped it very well. And the guy just came and hit it on the near post. And that was that one, after that goal went in.
Yeah.
South Africa got chances, they hit the bar, and the keeper, because South Africa have 15 shots at goal, 4 on targets. Sudanese have 9 shots at goal, 3 on target, 2 resulted to goal. That says a lot. You expect a team like South Africa defend more better because you're playing away. You needed the 1 point.
Yeah.
And on a run of play, they got the second goal, which at the same time too, for me, what I've seen with Rowan Williams, in terms of how he was keeping the PSL, he could have done better in the second goal because he was on the near post.
Yeah.
Near post,
So as a goalkeeper, you feel like okay, he can do better.
But also that ball, Greg, even before it gets, you look at how our midfield and the defense were not compact.
Right.
And how in transition, because that was a transitional moment.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe it was the inexperience of the midfield combination at international level, because sometimes, yes, we can play together at club level.
Yeah.
You understand? But that level is a different animal.
Yeah.
Sure.
Very different.
It's a different animal, and it requires people also who have that experience. So the pairing also becomes important. But sometimes, I don't know, maybe the technical team, they thought, okay, let's have people who play together at the same club here.
Yeah.
Because
You can understand the rationale.
Yes,
whether it was effective or not.
But you and not once.
Yeah.
Not once. And I had been complaining in the first half that in terms of the defensive midfield and the defense, and remember this back three that we're playing, these guys were not compact.
Yeah.
And it was affecting us.
Yeah.
So for me, even before Ramadan got to Tyson.
Yeah.
Maybe I also felt even Tyson could have dealt better with them.
You could have guided him.
Because he's got 2 defenders behind him. Who can cover him.
Yeah.
Commit.
Yes.
Instead he kept on backpedaling.
Yeah.
And also there was no support coming from the defensive midfield.
Yeah.
Because they were far apart.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why I'm leaving it to the technicians.
When you go to Sudan,
in terms of the approach, I don't know.
When you go to Sudan, they're more the conditions. You talk about that wonderful way to cross. In those conditions, you have to attack the ball. The player who is first on the ball is going to win the day. So there's no you can say you're going to try to shoulder mark and everything like that. In those conditions, you're going to have to attack the ball. You go to the ball, you'll beat the defender. So there are so many things where, you'll hear even coaches, even the player says, one-on-one. It doesn't work in all situations. If you're a central defender, for example, you're going to have a striker who's going to try to move this way, but he wants this angle. So the moment you try to man mark with him, it means he's going to take you to the wrong position, and it's going to, because his vision is looking at the ball.
Goal. Yeah.
You have to make an angle to get back to the ball. He's going to be fast. So if he's making that dub, you can as well leave him, because eventually he wants the ultimate position. So you can leave him. By the time he comes, he's going to find your body there, and again, you can hit the ball. So some of these things are more of the training you get. These sometimes they are not coached. As a player,
how much of that can the national team coach control then?
No, some of the things as a player you teach yourself.
Yeah.
It's what they call about experience. It's not sold in a shop, anything like that. These things you learn, you teach yourself in a game.
Do you think a coach would feel let down then by the players in that moment?
Definitely, because as a coach you have to understand. For example, people don't want to hear this, but sometimes you'll go into a game, and the coach has said we're going to play like this, and when the game takes off, everything is different. So there has to be that the seniority to say, listen, guys, I think what the coach has said at this moment in time is not working. We need to communicate to the coach and say, coach, can we try to do this in this comfort place?
And
you have to communicate it very fast.
The other thing, Kabza, you know, when you play international football and club football, it's different.
Yes.
International football, you play percentage,
and
you need result.
Yes.
Like South Africa going to Sudan, I thought they could have played percentage football.
Yeah.
Yes, you need a draw.
You get the throw-in, you get the throw-in, you get the set piece.
Slow things
You
down.
just slow things down.
Frustrate the opponent.
But all of a sudden, they were close in South Africa, playing against Ghana. With about 7
compact.
defenders.
Yeah.
You know, 7
There were
defenders.
5.
You're playing 2 left back. You're playing left back and left wing. Both are defenders.
Yeah.
They haven't been playing for their club for a very long time.
Yeah.
But
You go to Sudan.
you go to Sudan, you play back 4, and you try to play, which is fine. You want to get early goal. But I say the turning point for Sudan was scoring first.
Yeah.
But South Africa could have done better in terms of percentage football. Play percentage
And South
football.
Africa had
Put
chances.
it that side there. That's what,
I think there kind of about 4 chances
Right.
after we considered the first goal.
That's what-
Yes.
if-
including hitting the post.
hitting the post.
Tau at the near post.
the keeper
and
save.
the keeper saved.
There's a
as
defender
well.
save on the in the box there.
Yes,
You know.
yeah,
So,
yes.
and for me again, the other disappointing part is for taking Tao out. Okay, I know maybe he's injured, maybe he's limping, but for him to leave England
Yeah.
and come to sacrifice to play for South African national team. Leave him for the whole 90 minutes. First game and second. Let him, because he's a threat.
Yeah.
Sudanese, they watch the Premiership.
For
They
sure.
know this boy is
And he's
one
going to
of,
go back and
he has
quarantine.
4 goals. He's one
And
of
he
the
was
top.
trapping them
no,
with the runs.
let me tell
and
you
you know
that.
what? You could see the Sudanese, they were tiring.
Let
He was
let
a
me-
top.
let
He's
me-
a top-
let me
he's
tell
a
you.
top scorer
A
in the qualifiers.
half-fit Tau is able to attract 2 defenders out
Yeah.
of position,
Yeah.
creating space for another player
For sure.
to cause havoc. This is where sometimes you need to be smart enough to defy science. Because if you've got players who performed so well against Ghana, there's no need to change too much. Because these guys, they're going to have that recovery on the play.
Jali was injured.
It's quicker.
Automatically,
Yeah,
you need to
it's-
get
it's-
someone.
It's quicker.
That is natural replacement.
But I'm saying, for example, Tau, even when he's half injured, he may be even better than a fully fit player.
Yeah, but
Given his
I don't
intelligence
want
and
us to
distribution
dwell
in the
more
field
on
of play.
him because I was disappointed with the
No, he was.
But I'm not sure if he was injured.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I
100%
remember
fit.
there was an injury
Yeah.
against Ghana.
No, but,
Yeah.
but,
Right.
he
but-
came back
but
and
if
finished
he's,
the game.
if he's
Okay.
able to come back, square goal, start the game.
Yeah.
This.
He should be able to see it through.
There's leg
No.
fitness. There's leg fitness
No, he
there.
played yesterday.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, he played.
So,
Yeah.
this is
But
what I'm-
Jared,
good
what
to
we
them.
don't know is
Yeah.
around the time.
He got
kept-
substituted.
Yes,
out.
because
no,
also
but the question is,
No,
who
but-
is the replacement?
No, but what I'm saying is, even the visuals we couldn't see when he
Yeah.
was subbed.
Yeah.
In fact,
Yeah.
we didn't even see him.
He went out
Right.
through the other side.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
he went
yes.
right to the other
but,
side
if that was not for an injury, Esh.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's assume he's an injury. But who is coming on? Because we should have almost the same impact player.
Like for like.
Yeah, but who's there?
Exactly. That's a good question,
But
gents.
who makes
Who
that
is there?
decision?
Who is there? We need to take a break. We need to take a break. Who comes in when you take off now? That's the question here in the studio. You let us know. Use the hashtag MNF on Soweto TV. Our discussion, our robust discussion continues after this. Welcome back. Monday Night Football on Soweto TV, discussing, as far as tactics were concerned, just how MNF Ntseki approached the last 2 games. Obviously, before the break, remarking on how Percy Tau made the travel all the way from Brighton and Hove Albion, played 2 and a bit games. And then, of course, will now be quarantined on the way back. Let's talk maybe in terms of the options moving forward, Stavage. You know, we speak about obviously looking ahead to the FIFA qualifiers. What are some of the learnings here? We're going to still be operating under the same circumstances of players not being readily available, mostly reliant on locally based players. Is there a difference in approach that needs to happen from how we call up the players, who we call up? I mean, you know, right now, there's so many things that a brain's trust could suggest. What do you suggest going into this new qualification campaign?
I think for me, what needs to happen is SAFA needs to look inward deeply. we're talking about a SAFA today that doesn't have a permanent technical director. And they had a permanent technical director before, but it was considered to be wasted years, 5 wasted years.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the SAFA in terms of technical leadership and technical vision. They are found wanting. They are bankrupt in that space.
Yeah.
And all those things, they lead into the situation that we're talking about now, today.
Yeah.
You've been here in the country.
Yeah.
You know it. You know that even most PSL teams, there is no technical leadership.
Yeah.
Nothing informs them in terms of when they appoint a coach and the profile,
characteristics.
how they sign. You know. Sometimes I was listening this other day, a few years ago. I'm not sure which team was it, Zamalek or Esperance or Al Ali, that was not doing well. They didn't just fire the coach. The first person to resign was the technical director.
Right.
You know?
Because he instills the vision.
Exactly. And then you can see, okay, no. And I was watching Ghana last week. Ghana has got a technical director from Europe, some of those countries. And he's there. And I was seeing him at training, looking in the pictures and the visuals with the FA president there.
Right.
He's there at training.
Right.
I've never seen our acting technical director around Bafana. You understand what I mean?
Right.
Now, you and then you start to have confidence and you know about, okay, this is where these decisions are
Well,
coming from.
Isandla needs to know what the other one is
Exactly,
doing, right? I mean, that's the whole point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But here at home, for me, both at PSL level and at SAFA, I cannot confidently tell you to say this is our technical vision.
For sure.
Shouldn't
that been part of Vision 2022, though?
Look, the last time we had a proper technical director was the time of Serame Letswaka.
Right.
After Serame left, I don't know what happened. You know, I don't know what happened. And all these things I'm telling you about, even the appointment of coaches. Right now, there's no permanent under-20 coach. There's no permanent under-17 coach. Everything is just hush-hush.
Yeah.
You remember during the time of Thabo Sonong, he was an under-20 coach and assistant coach at Bafana.
Yes.
OTGs and under-23 coaches. But now, there's nothing. I don't know what's happening. You understand? And this is the leading FA in the COSAFA region and one of the leading ones on the continent.
Based on? Now, when you look at it, if
No.
leading,
You can go even in terms of the profile.
For sure.
Because the profile of the country and the profile of SAFA.
but as it stands now, in terms of when people look at it,
No, it's just on paper now. You understand? It's just on paper. You know? And also, I have to say this. At SAFA, unlike in Nigeria, in Uganda, and in most other countries on the continent, the money is not coming from government to pay for the national team, the salary of the head coach. It comes from SAFA.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So there's those dynamics. So
Right.
The comparison must not be. But what I'm saying is that with all what we have, with all what we have commercially in our game, we all look good, but we are poor in the core business of the game.
Sure.
Technically.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
And that's why for me, when you ask me what's next,
More of the same.
I'm not confident.
Yes, of course.
I cannot come out confidently and say this is what is going to happen.
And things are going to
because
change.
we failed to do things the right way
Right, initially anyway.
for the past decade or so.
So it means that it needs a whole uprooting, overhaul. The people there need to go. How do you keep the people that are there?
Out of the AFCONs that we've tried to qualify for, there have been 6 now. We only qualified for 2.
Right.
And even if you remember how we qualified for the last one, we had to
for
go
sure.
and win against Libya in the last game.
Yeah.
After we failed to beat Seychelles in Seychelles,
Right.
having beaten them 6-0 just a few days before.
Those part-time workers.
You understand? So what is said for me is that that's the only thing that I want to highlight, that both at professional level and the body that is running our football, the technical vision is not there. You know, it's not there. I mean, okay.
you know, it's SAFA gets players from the clubs. So we're going to get back now a wonderful PSL brand. The brand is beautiful when it comes to marketing. It will rank high up there. But talking about the quality on the pitch. Because we're talking about a situation where a player is being trained or coached. There's a difference. You know, some players are trained to go and compete and try to get results. And others are coached. They virtually understand how the game can be played. If the game, you need a draw, how do you go about it? The players themselves are coached and they understand and they can execute it on the field of play. They can have a good discussion with the coach and say, coach, look, you are saying I should do this, but this striker is taking me to the channel, is taking me out of the goals. How will I defend the goal? So those are aspects, and now that will go into the national team. That's why you find on the African continent.
National team is not there. National team, you have to be already to come and perform.
No, that's what I'm
national
saying.
team is not for play.
No.
National team is not, you want to come and
that's what I'm saying.
Coach.
No, what I'm saying is this. If that quality at the club level is groomed into that, the national team is a finished product. There's no grooming at the national team.
No.
There's no. I can get a 40-year-old player who is performing. I can get an Umveto who is scoring week in, week out. A Benny McCarthy who has got sort of a boatberry but is scoring goals. Put him in Bafana and score goals. You can't tell me you are developing at the national team. Developing what? For what?
You can't develop a national
No,
team.
national team
And
can't
that has
develop.
always been
So
my
it's-
issue. You can't.
The national
you can't-
team
you
is the
can't be
finest
developing.
product.
You
Yeah.
can't be
Sure.
developing.
It's too late.
Because that's why you've got under 17 tournaments.
Yes.
Exactly.
You've got under 20 tournaments.
For sure.
And you've got under 23
tournaments.
tournaments.
But that's the thing, if you have a vision.
But now, Osimhen,
top scorer for the 17.
you know, Chukwueze.
Chukwueze.
You know, you can count even some of the boys. You look at the Malian teams. The Malian teams always have got these young boys.
Yeah.
But they're playing senior level.
Yes.
Because
That's
the
the
mentality.
Because
That's the
they are
difference.
ready.
The
Yeah,
mentality,
for sure.
you're talking about Ronaldo and Messi, how they have conquered all these years. They started young, but they are young in age, very mature in football.
For sure.
So you are looking at that. You can't talk about this one is for the future when he's at the national team. There's no place for such.
That's
I
what-
agree with you, gentlemen. Greg, Vision 2022. We're going to talk about it after the break. We have to take a short little break. There's not enough time. Okay, guys. MNF on Soweto TV. Go back when we come back as we continue discussing Bafana. Welcome back. Monday Night Football, Soweto TV, as my panel that includes Timothy Batabaye, Greg Atafia, and Velile Mnyandu joining me. Gents, okay, very robust discussion. Let's carry on. Greg, before we went to the break, you had something you wanted to get off your chest.
Oh yeah, for me, okay, forget about the administrative side. Let's talk about what's happening on the pitch now.
Yes.
South African football. If you watch, the Egypt when Egypt host the AFCON.
Yes.
South African league produced, if I'm not mistaken, 49
Yes, around 47, 49.
49.
Yeah.
Yes.
players.
Yes.
They are there. So for me, they have produced players to represent
Playing the South African
in
League.
South African
Yes.
league. I'm talking about the
Are
one.
we not refining those players to go do well for their national team?
No.
And why doesn't it work the other way around?
It's two ways. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm coming there now.
Okay.
It's two ways now. You saw a player, for instance, now we're talking about scoring goals in South African League. There's a lot of players there not playing in their country. They haven't played it. Even from the under 17, under 20, they have the opportunity to play, play in South Africa or play in South African national team. Swallow your pride. France have done that. Germany have done that. Spain have done that. Why can't we get those people?
No, naturalize
those
players.
people.
You could be offered himself.
But let's qualify that.
Yeah.
Let's qualify
Yeah.
that because I feel that most of the time, even the people who write this type of stories don't qualify this thing.
Sure.
Okay.
If Nikovic says he can play for South Africa now,
Not him.
No.
Yeah.
Some have even written Sereno. But in the same story, you must also write that if you don't have a parent from there, there's no biological link,
Neutralization.
grandmother,
Yeah.
you have to wait for 5 years.
Imagine, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah.
You have to wait for 5 years before you become eligible.
Some players in South African league
understand?
are more than 5 years. They have some players.
No,
we
no,
can
no.
find from
But-
Zimbabwe.
but-
we can
but-
find from
Greg,
Uganda.
we're making the
But
point
Greg,
that
Greg,
Nigeria playing 21, 22-year-olds.
Yeah.
Right? If
Yeah.
a player is
Yeah.
needing to do the 5 years,
Yes.
we're
Yeah.
going to catch him at about 25, 26,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is currently where we are.
But the South African players are not staying there.
I can give an example.
Yeah.
Etafi has got a son.
Yeah,
He has been here. If he's good enough,
for sure.
enroll that one.
From a young
You've
age.
got-
No,
you've
makes
got-
sense.
The son is born here.
Yes,
South
South
African.
South African.
Yes.
South
So no.
What- what-
If you notice, there's a boy. I think Ononobu.
Yeah, the one for
It was a-
Black Leopard.
Yes. He was TTM.
Yeah.
He's
Then
black-
he was
black-
JDR.
Black-
Black Leopards
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
He was called up in the under 23 camp. You know, at some stage he was called
Yeah.
up in the under 23
Yeah,
camp.
yeah.
But maybe, and also there's a lady playing for Banyana as well.
Yeah.
Ode. You know,
Yeah.
she's got also, I think the parents are from the DRC, but she's also a Banyana player.
Yeah.
So I understand what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Right.
But my issue is that in some of the stories that have came out, and a player who's performing well now,
By the time
yes,
he gets into Bafana.
but we must also tell the people that to be eligible to play
Yeah.
for South
Yeah.
Africa,
This is what-
needs to
yeah.
happen.
Okay.
And international football, according to the FIFA rules, you have to wait for 5 years
Right.
until you get naturalized. Then you can be able to represent
You know,
that country.
That came in, but the issue is, for me, the quality on the field of play. We are talking about if you are chosen, selected to don that jersey, it should mean something to you. You know, Trapotan once said that the greatest players are not those skillful players. They are those who want it more. Those who have succeeded in Europe. When you get an African player, he goes to Europe. It's not because he's the best player. No. I can give you, everybody's talking about Tau. Go back in the history of how Tau came to play for Sundowns. He had to go on loan
Yes, you have to
from
fight.
Black Cases, came to Sundowns. He signed for a team in England. He could not qualify. He went somewhere in Belgium. Those are some of the challenges that people don't point out. They
Yeah.
only point out when he's playing now at Brighton.
Sure.
Now, there is a process. I told you,
Yeah.
so many people can explain your success.
Him not getting direct at Brighton was not because of his own doing.
Yeah,
It
because
was
of
because of the
person-
underperforming
yeah.
national
But-
team.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
But it comes back to that.
But the
Yes.
challenge is his positive attitude
Yes.
to accept to go through all those challenges.
How do you?
He still comes from England. And
Yeah.
he's still outperforming. Now,
Yeah.
we have always had this discussion that a player who is playing week in, week out in the PSL is better than a player who is on the bench in Brighton. Come on, guys.
Who said that?
But
No, man, people are always reasoning.
No,
why you
no,
get
no.
no.
I know.
Etafia, one of them.
See,
Is that- no.
no.
Etafia, one of them.
Is it one of them?
He's one of them.
Let me go back to that. What Tim is saying. Tim is saying that a player that is training for Sundowns is better than a player that is playing in Celtic. That was the argument. We're talking about international.
No, but yes.
You cannot say that.
I still stand by that
Sundowns
statement.
players.
But you know what?
No,
You know what?
let me finish.
No,
Let me
wait.
finish that one.
One
Sundowns. Wait,
of
let me
the
finish that
only
point.
team. One of the only team that didn't qualify.
For sure.
He didn't qualify.
No, he didn't qualify.
But we're talking about my team only. No, come on.
No, that's why I
But
gave
who's
it.
expected between Uganda and South Africa?
That's
to
why I
qualify?
gave it two.
Who's expected?
No.
No,
qualify.
you
No.
You are his big brother.
No. He's been to the AFCON in the last 3 AFCONs.
No, in the last
Two.
two.
In
No,
the
no,
last
for me,
2.
for me,
Yeah,
that's
that's
also-
yes.
The
It's okay.
But
That-
let me tell you something.
The
Let me tell
reason
you
why
something.
I was forgotten that I
Yes.
didn't qualify is because I'm not expected to be there. Once I qualify, it's like big news.
Yes.
So we're talking about.
Yeah, well,
Wait,
you waited 39 years to be there.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. If
And
we
mutual help.
can't compare the resource and everything like that, but failure is failure.
Failure
Yeah.
is failure.
And we are
But
failing.
my issue,
And
my issue,
we are
my
having the
issue,
same
I know
challenges.
that I'm gonna hit back at myself and
Yeah.
also in some of the things that we've been saying about Tim. We always talk about the D-license coach in one of our clubs. But the D-license coach, the striker today,
Yeah.
scored the goal that took him out of the AFCON.
All right.
You know?
And from the Baroque side there.
Exactly. And 11 years, Malawi had not been. And Malawi, from nowhere, Malawi.
For me-
you know, from nowhere, they had in the starting lineup, I think they had 4 PSL players.
Yes.
They had Gerald Piri, Junior. They've got
Nzava.
Nzava, he was the captain
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
They had.
Mohango.
No, Mango was in the
Mango
bench.
was in the bench.
They had.
But he was also there. He's a PSL player.
Yes, they had Mbulu.
Yeah.
But they had 4 players. They had 4 players in the starting lineup. Those were the 4. Mango was on the bench.
Yeah, was on the bench.
There's a boy who's a Polokwane City, Chibedzi. Chibedzi was on the bench.
Yeah.
And now I look at this team, I was like, you know.
You know,
So I know that we talk about these things.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think happens when they come back And these boys, they go back to their teams. They've
Yeah.
qualified.
Yeah.
They see Bafana is not qualified.
Right. Yeah.
And I know I'm saying here about the local standards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now it goes back to what you were saying.
No,
No,
I
but
said
they
about
have
Egypt.
No,
South
yeah,
African
no, let me tell you
players.
something now.
So you're going to have
Now-
players from around the continent come here, will still do the job.
Kamza,
Yeah.
You're saying
you
it's
see-
the South African
you
players.
see, Kamza, let me tell you something that's different.
Yeah.
You people, you forget that the PSL has groomed us to another level. When the rest of African players will come here, this is almost Europe in the context of other players coming from the rest of Africa.
Right.
When we arrive in the PSL, it's equivalent to Europe.
Okay.
So now that competition, the attitude you perform. So you get all the foreigners playing in the PSL, look at their performance, you're like, wow, this is a good player. 1 or 2 is moving to the big team.
There we
The
go.
attitude, the applicability, the desire to be there.
There we go. That's the word of the day, gents. We're out of time. Attitude. That's the word of the day. It extends to all our players, technical team, and of course, we hope the attitude of those who run South African football is somehow altered by this disastrous not turning out for a big continental tournament. I hope you've enjoyed Monday Night Football. We're done for time. Thank you to my panel. Thank you to you. We'll catch up in a week's time. Look after yourself. Good night.
Bafana shielded me.